Good night, teacher. We are going to present the app 2, and this is about the 3 steps activity for plan.
Now, I'm going to talk about the English as foreign language. Students, teacher, lesson planning processes, a grounding theory study. According to the actor uh, Bashira Santaraj and Kititoj Sontorwipas, the lesson planning employs the both pedagogical and the context knowledge. The processes are complex and the students, teacher, and undergoing to practicum a struggle to plan. The purpose of this study is to generate a theory to explain that the English as a foreign language, students teacher lesson planning by adopting the grounding theory. The data is analyzed by means of the coding to identify emerging categories and generate a substantive theories. The English as foreign language, students teacher lesson planning illustrating cyclical processes of four stage. The students teacher agree, partly disagree, or entirely disagree with the feedback and use or do not use the feedback to improve subsequent plans. Thank you.
Also, I'm going to explain you. I chose my article that said estimating the numbers of aquatic birds affected by oil spills based on pre-planning, response, and post-planning incident consideration. There are three steps, that is pre-planning, while planning, and post-planning. And this kind of three steps are applied in the lesson plan because we need to manage the class considerable. And also, as we know, in the pre-plan, in the main plan, we have to start with reading. We have to consider some important points like the materials or introducing the topic, showing another activity, and, and also the warm up. The another part of the three steps to planning is why planning. Why planning in that part is considered when the teacher that is applying uh, the topic in this case, including some activities where the teacher need to explain that to the students using different activities to complete that. And finally, we have the post activities. That kind of post activities are needed in that plan because the students need to be evaluated. In that part, the teacher evaluates through another activity to include workshops and can include a test also. Um, so in that part of the article about the abstract, the main approach current use but estimate numbers of the birds that is focused on that part of the abstract. Um, mention probably it expose model that can be used in the post part of the reading. Sorry, in the post part of the lesson plan. This its recommendation and relevant are areas in that part, and as mentioned again about aquatic birds. It mentioned industrial activities that can result or it could be injure or kill water birds.
Now I'm going to talk about the principles of lesson planning, a guide for students, teachers. This article presents the basic principles and components of the lesson planning, organized in three stages: before planning, while planning, and the after planning. Milagro Piñero Ruiz mentions the before planning is the pre-planning stage in the start to the work process, where teachers gather ideas, material, and possible starting of points. Here, talking about tutoring activities, the issues of how one activities leads into another is a model of how different part or stage of a lesson hang together. And the final, the after planning, according to Milagro, it's once teachers have implemented in the lesson planning, it's a time to start action research. For Hamer, mentioned to the research is to name given to a series of procedures teacher can engage in, perhaps because they wish to improve aspect on their teaching, or alternative because they wish to evaluate the sources and appropriacy of certain activity and procedure. Thank you.
This article is about planning, preparing, and structuring a small group teaching session. The authors for this article are Christian Van Diegel, Annette Burgers, and Craig Mellis. And this article shows us that planning, preparation, and structuring are important for the an achievement for students' learning results, since they increase student participation, knowledge retention, self-directed learning, communication skills, capacity of team working, and discussion among peers. But for this to work, the activities must follow a recognizable structure and address key topics for preparation and a small group teaching sessions, such as determining learning outcomes, designing learning activities, aligning learning outcomes with learning activities, curriculum and assessment, and ensuring that seating arrangements optimize engagement. Well, with all of this, the students will be prepared to activate participation in the classes and give comments. Thank you.
And finally, this article is three simple steps for creating lesson plans. According to Lindsay Lach, the article has the first step. The first one is pinpoint the learning objectives, starting with the desired outcome first. That's mean for what students will learn, by why they are learning a skill, and how they will learn it and demonstrate their proficiency. The first step to planning an effective lesson is to decide what skills the teacher will using, the common core, state standards specific to his or her content area, and grade and level. The examples used for the objectives apply, analyze, identify, explain, support, and create. The second one is create the learning activities and plan appropriate sequence and time frame to help reach learning goal. First, choose how students will experience instructional content. Second, create activities to help students reach their learning target. And three, creating a timeline for learning activities. And finally, the third step is designing assessment to measure understanding. A teacher will want to determine how to measure proficiency and what types of assessment a teacher will use to gauge if learners have meet the specific objectives. And after an assessment, a teacher should give constructive feedback on what students did well and how they improve for next time. Thank you, teacher.